this last webinar of the year with me, Andrew Dawkins, and
myself, Rachel Blackhall, and we're also joined today by
myself, Daniel Bajwoluk.
You don't get an appearance on the screen though just yet, so we'll save that joy till a bit later. Lovely to have you with us today, and we're going to look at the moment.
Yes, so as always, we'll start off with what's been happening at A.R.D. Consultancy. And as it's the last webinar of the year, we thought we would just run through all the events that have been happening this year, how it's affected the investment markets and things. We're going to be flipping 3 and 4 around, so we'll discuss 2022 in review, and then moving straight on to ahead for 2023. Then we'll hand over to Dan, who will discuss the various sponsorship events that we've been doing this year. As always, question and answers. So just to remind you all, if anybody has any questions, please type them in now, and we'll pick those up as we get further into the webinar.
And just to let you know, we've gone to the video, if anybody has an issue hearing us, apparently there are 1 or 2 issues, then if you log on and log off again and then log back in again, then you should be able to hear us okay. So I hope that makes sense.
And then we'll be rounding off with the Google review prize draw. So thank you again, everybody who has taken the time to leave us a review. We'll be drawing the winners at the end of the webinar, and then it'll be farewell from us.
Lovely. So first of all then,
what's been happening? Various things, but we will start off just letting everybody know what was happening for the Christmas holidays. So the office will be closing on Friday the 23rd of December, and then not reopening again until Wednesday the 4th of January. So if anybody has any queries or would like to make a withdrawal or any changes to investments, pensions, please do let us know before Christmas so that we can try and get that actioned as soon as possible for you.
Withdrawals? Are we encouraging withdrawals?
No. Now and again.
And we thought we would just run through the team members. There's been one change to the team this year. So as many of you know, we lost Alison to the clutches of the police, and she's not helping them with their inquiries, but she is a police officer now. So we've always liked Alison, and we'll continue to like her, won't we?
Yes. Keep on the good side.
Yes, and so we have at the top of the chart there, we have Dan, who does a fantastic job with all this wonderful marketing and sales aids that we get to use throughout the webinars and the presentations that we do, and also then the monthly market updates. And next to him, there's the new entry, Maureen, or Mo. She's, I think, which does she prefer?
I think she likes Mosey.
Mosey.
That's my preferred choice.
Right, okay. Sorry about that, Mo, if you're not particularly keen on that one. And she's dealing with the administration, so normally the first point of contact. So if you're wanting to change anything within your arrangements, take money out, put money in, Mo will be the first point of contact. Then beneath her we have Stacey, who is really your second in command.
Yes, Stacey always works on the compliance side of things for the business. So a lot of research, preparing those wonderful suitability reports that we have to issue in advance of any recommendations. So yes, that's Stacey's expertise.
And then under Stacey, we have young Rachel. Now this has caused a number of confusions this year with people coming on the phone going, "Oh, it's Rachel." And then yes, it's not Rachel Blackhall. No, it's it's young Rachel. So she assists us on various tasks throughout the day in the office. And then we have yours truly and the wonderful Rachel. So that's the way the office looks at the moment.
And then moving on to what we have been doing this year. We've obviously already put out recordings and various reminders to let everybody know about the portfolio rebalancing. So finally pleased to say that we have completed that colossal task of rebalancing the portfolio into what the current recommendation looks like, which this year involved just moving out of one fund and into another. So as simple as that sounds, it's quite a labour-intensive task, and we have to do it all individually. We can't do it by bulk and pressing a couple of buttons. So thank you everybody for getting back to us so promptly.
Yeah, I think I didn't really appreciate what goes on because, as you know, most people, I sit behind the scenes drinking cups of tea and just appearing for meetings now and again. But we had to make over 3,000 manual entries when we were doing the rebalancing. So it's quite a huge amount of work, which is why we don't do it that often. Moving on, and the reviews, we've completed more reviews this year than we've ever done. And there's been a need, I think, to do more of the reviews to reassure our beautiful clients that it's not the end of the world, despite what the BBC might tell us. The world of investments has had some successes, which we'll come on to later in the presentation. But it's really to act as a reassurance that what we're doing and what you're doing with your hard-earned money is actually very, very good in the long term. And so therefore we tend to be busier during times of volatility, not necessarily collecting new business, although that's been quite good, but it's more to be there to act as a bit of a reassurance that yes, we don't need to panic, we don't need to make many changes, we are doing the right thing because we do make money over the medium to long term. A lot of our clients have now moved over to annual reviews, and this is really because of the fact we're doing so much through social media, through these webinars, through the monthly bulletins, that people are saying, well, yeah, we do like to see you. I'm not sure
No offence
to me there, but
just not so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Rachel. Christmas present list just reduced by one. So for a lot of people, we're moving over to annual meetings. But please, if there is anything that you want to discuss, any changes to your circumstances, anything you just want to have a bit of a chin wag with us, please do let us know outside, because we will be making contact with you if we need to. We're not waiting for the review to get in touch. And if there's anything you need, just let us know, because we're here for you. We really are.
Another change this year?
Yeah. So what we decided, obviously, everybody's talking about this cost of living crises, or another crisis. And what we decided to do this year was to introduce a hold, really, on our initial fees. So most of you know that whenever you make an investment with us or take out a contract, etc., we need to charge, because of the fact that there is a lot of work involved in this. And with Rachel having a need for very expensive designer handbags, then we charge accordingly. However, what we've decided to do this year, a bit of trial, was to say if anybody tops up an existing contract, we won't charge our usual set fee. So there's no setup fee for additional business to the same contract. And that seems to have gone down quite well. So it's our attempt at helping as many people as possible.
Right, and what a year 2022 has been. Can you cover it all in a nutshell?
Yeah, are we talking about the sporting side of things?
Everything.
Great victory for England in the 2020 World Cup, fabulous. And the rugby league players at the men's wheelchair final, which was a very good victory for the English. Dan?
Anyway, men's and women's Australian rugby league team that won the World Cup, didn't they?
All right.
So back to business then.
Really?
In Commonwealth Games that Australia won.
Lovely to have you with us this morning, Dan. Thank you very much. So yeah, well, those of you that have listened, put up with these webinars and the monthly bulletins from us will know, and for those people that have been with us for the regular reviews, etc. What a year this has been. We're going to finish the year down in terms of start of the year compared to the end of the year valuations for most of the investments we arrange for our portfolios and most of the single funds that we give advice on. And really this sort of hasn't happened, negative growth, since 2008. So it's our first sort of experience of negative growth for it's about 14 years now, which is saying something. So For many of our new clients, this is the first time you'll have experienced, oh gosh, we invested, we put away within the pension or savings so much money, and what a great job you've done, Andrew, and your team. You've actually got less money than when I started. And one of the things we always guarantee to people who, at the start of the journey with us, is that we will guarantee that generally for most of the investments we arrange, you will see a reduction in values. It's all part and parcel of the sort of, well, I suppose winning with the investments, that we've got to accept when times are tough, we can have negative annual returns, which we're seeing this year. And we can't really get around that because of the way that the world has been structured. So this year, we've really been hit by the effects of the lockdown, and the lockdowns have meant that we've got a considerable amount of money in the world, and a lot of people who are wanting to do things that they missed out in 2020, 2021, and probably the start of this year doing. So whether it was you had a holiday cancelled in 2020 and now you wanted to take it again, or you wanted to catch up with friends, relatives, etc., or you wanting to avoid friends and relatives, it all means that there's a huge demand and supply has not caught up. And when there's an imbalance, when we've got more people wanting things and things available, we get inflation. And that's really been the root cause of all the woes for this year. So if we then have a wee look, as we'll come back to this in a few minutes, if we have a wee look then at the portfolios we run, and Rachel will take us through one or two of the changes that we've seen over this last year.
Yeah, so as we usually do, we like to look at the top 10 holdings within some of our investment portfolios, just really to give us an idea of which of those companies have the largest allocation. And what we have, one previous slide. This is a snapshot of our balanced portfolio and the top 10 holdings this time last year. So we thought it'd be good to let's compare with how that looks to how it looks today. And here we have the top 10 holdings now. You'll see there that many of those logos have remained, albeit their perhaps allocation has changed. And it's just, once again, we thought this would show that the fund managers have confidence in the companies that they have been selecting and investing in. So although it's been a rocky year, a volatile year, they do believe that these companies are well positioned to see it through and ride out the storm.
I noticed there one of your handbag companies seems to have made it into the top 10 this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
LVMH there.
It's been a good year for handbags for the Blackhall family.
Similarly, this is a snapshot of the capital growth portfolio from this time last year, and again, how it looks today. So it's the same story. The capital growth portfolio just has slightly higher equity content, but again, many of those companies have stuck around. So hopefully it's just giving a little bit of confidence that they're big names that we should recognise, and I'm sure over the course of the various webinars and market videos that we've put out over the last year or so, we have discussed each and every one of them at some point. So what we thought we would do then is have a look at, just handpick some of them individually, just to give you a bit of an update on what they're doing now. So here we have, right, first one is Tube Investments of India. For those of you who might have forgotten, they're a specialised engineering company who produce steel tubes, bicycles and car door frames, just to name a few. Last month, they announced they'll acquire a 50% stake in a startup business called X2 Fuels, who are developing processes to convert waste to liquid and solid fuels. Apparently that is good news, Andrew.
Oh, right. What sort of waste are they converting here, Rachel?
I didn't delve much deeper into that, but good news nonetheless. Tube Investments of India have been one of the biggest contributors to the portfolios this year, and saw their share price increase by 77% over the year. So, as I said, I know it's been a rocky year, but there are some good companies in there who are doing well, just to hopefully give us all some hope and some positive news. And next we have Mahindra & Mahindra, who are another Indian company who's had a good year. This company, it wasn't in the top 10 holdings of the balanced portfolio this time last year. It probably entered around June time, but it was in the capital growth portfolio from last December, and it's remained there all throughout the year. They're one of the largest vehicle manufacturers in India and made history by creating safe SUVs. I know we think that they should all be safe, but their latest model, which they launched in June of this year, and perhaps why at that point their share price peaked, became the first body-on-frame to secure a 5-star global rating in the test protocols, crash testing. Yeah.
Ooh, there was some silence there.
Yes.
Everybody takes that in
Can you?
at home and goes, wow.
Yes, apparently it was quite a milestone, and they saw their share price rise by 49% over the year. So
actually,
it's good news.
one of the things that I learned this year was from your husband, it has to be said, was that if an electric vehicle goes on fire, the fire service can't put it out.
Apparently not, yes. So there you go.
Don't let that worry you, though, you Tesla drivers.
Anybody who has an electric car. And then we have Diageo.
One of your favourites, Dan.
Top of my list.
The UK alcoholic beverage company, for anybody who isn't familiar with them. But their company have been in the top 10 holdings for a long, long time. They're a global leader in premium drinks, but even they have suffered a bit of a downturn this year with the economy and inflation. And
I have been drinking a lot less.
have you? It's time to change that. So their share price is down about 5% this year. But with the FIFA World Cup and, as usual, people stocking up for Christmas, giving them a little bit of respite. And last month, their share price surged by 3.8%. But hopefully there is some light at the end of the tunnel, because apparently, Dan, super premium plus brands, it's the big market.
That's the one.
Yes, that's the area of their alcoholic beverages that has grown the most, with 57% making up of their net sales. So
maybe out of the reach of many people who are employed by A.R.D. Consultancy.
Stick to tenants, really.
And then last one for today, we thought we should mention Microsoft, since their announcement to purchase a 4% equity stake in the London Stock Exchange Group this week. So tech stocks have had a bit of a rough year, which we'll discuss later, no doubt. Microsoft themselves have been hit by a 26% drop in the share price over the year. But this latest announcement was very well received, and it saw an upturn of the share price of 2% yesterday, but hopefully onwards and upwards. This announcement for the equity stake is going to be part of a 10-year strategic partnership, which is going to see both companies, so Microsoft and the London Stock Exchange Group, collaborate and migrate using each other's technical resources. So as part of it, the London Stock Exchange are going to be using the Microsoft processes such as Azure, Teams, and basically the broader 365 package, which will only enhance the London Stock Exchange offering for their analytical side of things. So hopefully it's a win-win for both companies, and we'll leave it there as a bit of a one to watch for the future. And I'll pass back to Andrew now to talk about some of the other hot topics.
So we were looking back at some of the questions we got last year, and the most, well, apart from COVID last year, the most common question was about cryptocurrencies and the likes of Bitcoin, for example, and whether we could include them within investments and what our views were and why we weren't using them, etc. The difficulty still remains that they aren't regulated, so if we include them in the portfolio and anything happens to them, they're not covered by any of the fallback rules and regulations that you get with any of the other investments we arrange. We're looking perhaps for crypto to give us a bit of perhaps a bit of diversity for this year, in terms of, well, it's not a share, it's not technically a currency, it doesn't really move in the same way as a normal currency would. It's not a share as such. So what asset class can it fall into. So we were hoping that it could give us a bit of diversity.
Diversity, yeah.
So that when shares were down, perhaps crypto and the like would come to its aid. But unfortunately, no, it's behaved more like a tech stock.
Really unpredictable.
It is. And then the wars of the FTX, Mr. Bateman Fried, as they refer to him in America, crazy Yanks, sort of put the industry back years and years and years, I think. And as that slide suggests, 2/3 of the money in crypto has now disappeared, either because it's been lost through negligence, some might say fraud, goodness knows, or just simple market movement. So unfortunately, crypto is something that we weren't able to invest in, and perhaps it was a good job that we weren't. But there is a place for it, because if we can get rid of bank involvements and currency exchanges and having to, when we go abroad, transfer money and then be at the whims of the bank and the credit card and the debit card companies as to how much fee they're going to charge us, then that will be a good thing to do. So the idea behind it is great and it's super, but it's just unfortunate that it's not something that we would want to choose to invest in any meaningful way at the moment. So it's a bit of a sad story for crypto this year, unfortunately. Moving on then to our next slide. Thank you very much. Here we are. So probably one of the asset classes that performs quite well over the years is gold. So we can invest. Well, I suppose if you invest directly in gold, you would perhaps go down to the jewelers and buy some earrings or something like that, because it's one of the few asset classes that's got a bit of a use. You know, we can use it as an ornament. We can put it in our mouth as fillings and caps and all.
I wonder where you were going with that. Okay.
It's a very good conductor and all the rest of it. So it's one of the few. I mean, if you own shares in a company, what have you got? You got a share certificate, perhaps you stick on your wall, the wallpaper. I don't know, but gold's a very useful thing. So we can trade in it, we can spend it, we can keep it, we can look at it, we can wear it, we can do lots and lots of things with it. But the challenge we've got with gold is actually buying it. So unless you own bullion bars, you've got to buy it through exchanges, and that sort of means that you're paying somebody else to own the asset for them to hold it, or perhaps just an exchange, which is a computer system. And so you never get a direct valuation. The other thing with gold is it's very, very volatile. So if we look in the recent past, then we're seeing gold up to £1,561 an ounce, and then a low of 1,227. That's a swing of 27%. And again, for a portfolio, it's a very, very volatile asset, although it does make money over the long term, but so do shares and so do other assets that we hold for our clients. And we can trade them a lot easier than actually holding gold bars and bullions. Because I don't think we could probably afford the insurance on a block of gold.
I'd rather not.
I'm not sure about that. So we do consider these things for specialist investments, but they tend to be a little bit too extreme, I think. And then this year's seen huge volatility in the oil and gas market. So to give you an idea, at the start of this year, we saw gold, and this is the exchange is split between Brent and what we call WTI. And WTI is the more traded commodity. And at the start of the year, it was trading at $75 a barrel, and it's now trading at $74 a barrel. But it peaked in June at $121. So it's even very, very volatile. And it's controlled as well. A lot of the price is controlled by these people in the Middle East who set the price and the outputs and so on. So it's a sector that's fraught with difficulties. And just like Russian oil and gas, it's perhaps you're relying on people that you wouldn't perhaps necessarily want to trust. Anyway, enough said on that. But very, very volatile, and it shows how the effects of inflation and costs have affected transport. The other thing is gas. So natural gas, we had a price high this year of just over €300 per kilowatt hour, and it's currently trading around about €133 per kilowatt hour. So that's come off the high, but it takes a wee while to filter through to some of these oil and gas price changes. But again, very, very volatile, which is why we tend to leave commodities out of our portfolios and why we tend to only advise on them for a small number of clients with a small amount of capital, just because of the volatility issues we've got with that. Then, interest rates and inflation. So those people that hear me banging on every meeting about, it seems crazy that the world has reacted with shock that we have inflation, but yet if you lock people away for a year and a half, 2 years, or even in China 3 years, and then you release them, they're wanting to spend money and do the things that we love doing. And so you've got this imbalance between supply and demand, and that's what's causing the inflation. And unfortunately, the central banks who were asleep at the wheel last year, because last year we could see commodities, future prices going through the roof. Well before then, prices hit the consumer, which is January and February, we saw big increases in inflation. So the central banks here, but more importantly, the Federal Reserve in America, was still pumping huge amounts of cheap money into the economy all the way through March of this year. And then all of a sudden going, oh, hang on, wait a minute, crikey. I think we've been a bit rubbish. So what we better do now is increase interest rates. Now, when you start studying economics, the general rule is that you allow around about 5 to 6 months for an interest rate rise, or fall in fact, to work through the system. So we're only just starting to see the first effects of the rate hikes now. And to do them for 7, 8 consecutive months, in my opinion, is madness, because you're not seeing the effects of the first one fully, never mind each one. And looking back through 2021, I was reading some of the articles then, and some of the very, very clever people were saying, oh, well, we don't think interest rates are going to rise until 2024, and then by perhaps 0.25% to 0.5%. And now we get very excited when the Federal Reserve only raises interest rates by 0.5% in a month. It's crazy, and it really is. And it's all because of supply and demand. And if we could have just accepted the fact that, okay, a lot of people are wanting to do things, we don't have the supply chain ready, keep the cost of borrowing low so that companies can invest to improve production and output, then inflation would have just lasted a few months and it would have gone away. But now we're in a vicious cycle, because as inflation is going up, quite rightly, workers are wanting to get more money, pensioners are wanting to get more money, and that then creates this vicious circle that your wages go up, but so do prices, and then you have to put your wages up again, and you have to put prices up. And if your output isn't increasing, it's the UK economy, again, contrary to the doomsters, the UK economy in October grew by 0.5%, which is fabulous, because a lot of the doomsters were saying, oh my, well, we're going to be down 1%, and it's the end of the world, and all this nonsense. It sort of would really be sort of quite a good thing if we'd have just said, all right, let inflation rocket, but then say to people, it's only going to be there for a short time, because once people have been on the 2 holidays, and once they've moved home and they bought the greenhouse and the decking and all the rest of the stuff that we can't get hold of, then the situation's back to normal. But unfortunately, what the banks are doing right now is that they're making this potential for a downturn last even longer by increasing the cost of borrowing, which is not a good thing. Next slide then. We thought we would just, we're nearly there, folks. Bear with us.
Bang.
What does that stand for?
Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google.
Yeah, so people used to rabbit on about these, didn't they? Sort of 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, because these are the driving forces behind the great success story that is the American economy. So we thought we'd just have a look at what they've done.
These big names
to date. So, when we look at the value of somebody's investments and they go, oh, you'll be down 6%, down 7%, down 8%. We compare it with some of the investment values we're seeing here. So the one I'm always staggered with is Amazon. Year to date, down almost 50% share price. So I was thinking, well, surely it's a retailer. You go online, you buy stuff from. surely they should make money whether the times are good or bad. I know they can just
you hear
stream.
everybody saying about using Amazon. It's not like it's something that's fallen out of favour so much, as far as I'm aware.
No. So I think that there has been a bit of disquiet at the top with Mr. Bezos perhaps spending too long in space and not enough on the shop floor. But you do wonder at the valuation then. Was it grossly overvalued in the first place? Apple, being the biggest company normally by market share in the world, down 22% year to date. They've been beset with not product difficulties. The products are flying off the shelves. It's just actually getting the shelves filled. Unfortunately, a few years ago, they decided to take the Chinese bribes and center a lot of their production in China and around the Shanghai area, and that's the area that's been badly affected by lockdowns. So they've had supply issues and now looking to perhaps relocate some of that production elsewhere. And you could say, well, it serves them right, because if you go for cheap labour and you're using a country and a system that perhaps don't match our own freedoms and workers' rights, etc., then hell mend you, perhaps. And then the big one, which is Facebook, down 66%. And that's been badly hit by the likes of TikTok. And
TikTok's the latest big one now, isn't it? Facebook seems to have been getting pushed out a little bit.
And then our friends over at Tesla, we've put that stock in just because, again, it's been a darling of the stock exchange for the last 5 years or so. But even that, and again, it's been hit by China, production difficulties, lack of demand over there. But also, when we look at its price and the market value, it is trading on a multiplier of over 30, whereas lots of BMW trading on a multiplier around about 5, VW trading on a multiplier around about 4.
Big difference.
These companies now, okay, they weren't in the electric space a little while ago, but now they're coming into with some great offerings. So is Tesla overvalued?
Could well be.
We don't know. Are the other companies undervalued? But I think the motor, just today, I was reading that Jeep, the sort of truck manufacturer, small truck manufacturer, has decided not to go into the EV space because there isn't money to be made there. Stellantis has had challenges actually procuring the raw materials to build, and has just said, well, there isn't the money there at the moment, never mind the supply of stuff. So, I don't know. I think it's perhaps a stock, an individual stock I'd perhaps stay clear of.
Very volatile.
It does show you the advantage of portfolio investing, that when we look at those share prices and then we compare it to the American funds that we're recommending our clients go into, the American funds have done a lot better than the FANG and the Tesla stock.
So that's a lot of downturn and some doom and gloom there. Is 2023 looking to be any better? Are we going to see some easing with the inflation? Is that going to improve a little bit?
Yeah, I think because of the simple fact that we've had surely the worst of it behind us in this year.
Hopefully.
So we've had the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which nobody, I think, could have predicted. It doesn't have much of an effect, actually, in terms of the world markets and what have you. But it has a little bit of an effect. I reckon about 15% of the overall downturn and volatility. Politics, that's going to slow down a wee bit. Hopefully the British government have sorted themselves out, and we're going to have a bit of stability, although that was a dreadful budget that's just gone. Probably one of the worst budgets I've seen for a very long time. So there's no elections due in the US, which is a good thing. So there's a bit of stability on that side as well. UK house prices have fallen, which may help those people trying to get on the property ladder, but at the same time, interest rates have been pushed up, so it makes it more expensive for the likes of mortgages and stuff like that. But
is COVID still going to be following us around?
Well, COVID, perhaps that's more of a success story, that as China now under pressure from its population starts to unlock and release its population to start traveling the world again and taking all those photos that they're famous for, then I think we're going to see that China should zoom along in terms of performance this year, but or the next year rather. But it does have its own challenges. Really, it needs the economy to grow because of the level of spending it's putting out there, and the property market is still a bit of a fix out there. So China's perhaps hopefully a bright spot which releases. Price of fuel and power has come down, as we've seen there. The oil price is down, the gas price is down. Europe's fully stocked, apparently, in terms of energy for this winter. So now we're looking beyond and getting the canisters refilled for next winter. The UK equity market, and probably some of the European equity market as well, looks good value. So when we compare the share price and the returns of British and mainland European companies against the US rivals, they actually look fair value. So there's some good bargains to be had out there if you're buying the right things. As we always say, if you buy good and buy it at a low price, that's a lot better than buying rubbish at a very low price. And then probably the profits are starting to return to the fixed interest market, the lending money to companies, lending money to governments, but they've fallen the furthest really of any asset class this year. So fixed interest, you've heard me banging on about this for years now, trying to reduce your exposure to fixed interest, and that's done us all good, that we don't have that fixed interest worry that a lot of investors, there's one investor that we saw the other week who her portfolio was down 44% this year. She was in fixed interest assets, 44%. We didn't arrange those, I have to say, and that was a safe, cautious, low risk investment that was advised to her by a stockbroker. So just shows you. Right. So
is that us covered last year, this year? Maybe
yeah. I think that's just about it, isn't it? We can cover a little bit of sport there as well.
Yes. So sponsorship then. Dan, this is your area.
Yes, I've got a booming voice, Andrew, so I think the further away the microphone is from me, the better. You don't need to put it right under my nose, it's okay. But yes, so looking at pull it away. Look at that sponsorship and marketing that we're doing over the last couple of years now. I know it's been difficult with COVID affecting a lot of sports and also the schools that we are associated with, but we are back on board sponsoring the only pro men's basketball team in Scotland. As you can see on the screen there, they are now known as the Caledonia Gladiators. They used to be the Glasgow Rocks. So there's been a new management, new ownership that's come on board, and they've changed everything. But we are still there, so we are still sponsoring them for this season. And what we have done, I think a lot of you would have seen via our newsletter that we are offering all of you an opportunity to come to the Rocks game if you wish to.
The Rocks.
See, there we go, the Gladiators. You're going to point out how many times I'm going to say that. Yes. But so we did send out a newsletter, and we got quite a bit of interest back when we finally formalised the night at the basketball for Sunday, the 5th of February, when the Gladiators take on the Sheffield Sharks. So what we'll be doing is we'll be supplying a coach service to the arena for all those living in the Falkirk area. We'll have drinks and snacks waiting for everyone on arrival at the Emirates Arena. Andrew doesn't know that yet. He's looking at me now, yeah. We'll also be taking...
as long as we have the cheerleaders.
We'll also be taking everyone on a brief tour of the arena facilities, including the velodrome within the Emirates. So anyone that's into cycling, you'll love that. Prior to making our way to our seats for the game, we'll also hopefully be looking to organise a pre-game rundown, probably for myself, but also with some help from the Gladiators coaching staff.
Rundown? What's a rundown, John?
I'll give you a bit of a history of the club and a rundown.
Oh, right, okay. I was you running downstairs. I was going to say some of
our...
You're
really got to stop being so literal, Andrew.
Okay.
Remember, I'm from the land of plenty, Australia. This is how we talk. I've been here long enough, Andrew.
Okay. I was just thinking,
catch on to the lingo.
Running and alcohol is not a good combo.
Moving on.
Years of experience.
So there'll be a question and answer session where you can ask the coaching staff of the Gladiators some questions if you like, and then we'll go down and watch the game. And then at the end, hopefully we'll be able to gain access to the court, get some photos, and take some shots.
Oh, I've never tried that.
And that's basketball shots, not those ones, Andrew. So hopefully we'll go. And then, of course, the coach service will take you back to Falkirk if you're going back to Falkirk. So it's a pretty cool day that we've got planned, and we are in the midst of organising all of that. We've got a lot of people that have already said that they're interested. If you can't make that game, that's fine. Any other games that you're looking at, let us know, and we'll see what we can do. So we do have some tickets there available. Anything else, Andrew, regarding the Glasgow Rock, the Caledonia Gladiators?
I think you've covered it well there.
Brilliant. So we'll move on to Partner we've been with for, I think it's 4 years now, Larbert High School. So as many of you know, our ongoing partnership with Larbert High continues to flourish, and with COVID restrictions a distant memory, we've decided to combine forces and bring you an evening of fun, food and entertainment. So currently sponsor the Larbert High School of Hospitality Initiative, helping to provide youngsters with the skills needed should they wish to forge a career within the hospitality industry. It's quite apt to think that we're part of that, and we continue to sponsor that even though the hospitality industry was pretty much shut down for 2 years. And I know that the school is very thankful for that. So after 4+ years of support, we thought it was high time we put the students to the test and arrange a special evening for our clients where you'll be able to sample the food and experience the service that the students have to offer. So it will be I think we're calling it a Larbert High School of Hospitality Appreciation Day.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think that's very nice.
So essentially, it's not just going to be the food that's going to be dished up on the night. It's there'll also be a variety of students from Larbert High who'll be at hand showcasing their many talents, which include things like dance routines, Andrew's favorite, a pipe band welcome, and much, much more. So as we said, with the basketball, all food and drink and entertainment will be included on the night. So all you need to do is bring your good self. So the event will be on Friday, the 24th of February, from 6:30 p.m. and we'll be in touch to formalise all those events. So I'll hopefully get all those emails out tomorrow to you. And if you can let us know if you can attend, that'll be fantastic, because we just need to formalise things with Larbert High.
Oh, it'd be great to support the kids.
Yes, and see how they've progressed. It would be nice to see if they can actually cook. Otherwise, you might not take your money back.
Money well spent.
We'll soon find out. And finally,
as long as there's no Brussels sprouts.
I've requested that as a starter and a dessert.
For Andrew only.
Brussels sprout ice cream. And finally, we're moving on to Whitburn Junior Football Club. So over the past couple of seasons, we've been advertising at Central Park as part of a sponsorship deal with the football club. The young team have had a very successful season just past there, winning the league and being promoted to Division 2 of the East of Scotland League this season. And they have also seen an increase in the number attending their games, including Andrew, I believe. Went to a few, didn't he? So we have an advertising board around the side of the pitch, and our board will continue to feature at games as well as promotional mentions within the matchday program on the club's official website, which is www.whitburnjfc.org.uk. So there you go. So the sponsorship is still there. I know it was tough during COVID. A lot of things shut down, but you'll probably be happy to hear that we did continue to support the local community, and we will continue to do so going forward.
Try to.
Yeah, I think we'll now move on to the.
We
don't have questions. Do we have any questions that we haven't already covered? I think we've covered.
I think we did. Yes.
Yeah. We don't know. Rabbit on too much. So it's the one you've all been waiting for. We are delighted with the number of people that very kindly give us Google reviews, because it really does. I mean, it's not trying to big up the company and what we do, although it does help, but it really gives confidence to people that wouldn't normally seek out a financial advisor, either because we think people are a bit too stuffy, or you've got millions of pounds to deal with a financial advisor, but it gives them a bit of sort of information, a bit of assistance, saying, well, these are real people that have written the reviews.
That's exactly the sort of conversation we have when you pick up the phone to a potential new client, somebody inquiring about perhaps plans they've already got or starting something new, whether that's savings or pensions or anything. And so often we do hear that I read your reviews and that's why I'm phoning. And that really does just go a long way. So we're so appreciative of that from all of our existing clients.
Yes, so thank you very much. But the thing I was going to note there is that even though this has been going on for years and we've had loads of people giving us beautiful reviews, Mum and Rachel's mum. Well, in that case, I'm afraid you've missed it, because you're not going to go into the prize draw that we'll now do using my...
No expense spared, people. We've printed off all the names.
My Wakefield Trinity hat.
In a proper prize draw.
Proper prize draw.
Here we go.
We have 3 prizes. We have the first, which is a...
Oh, sorry.
What's the first prize? How much were we giving? 20,
£200
What?
M&S voucher. I took a zero off, Andrew. You said 2,000. I said no, we can't do that.
Right, okay, so Rachel will pull out the winner of the
who's the lucky
£200.
winner? I have Derek Young. If you can read that, Derek.
Oh, well done, Derek.
Right.
Yes, a worthy
Right
winner.
away.
And then,
No.
Bloody.
It's there.
and then we have 2 consolation prizes of £50 each. Is that another voucher?
It is indeed, yes.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
M&S.
So
M&S.
Dan, I'll
You
ask
can get a chicken wing for that.
We know we're done.
Look at my
and the first runner-up is
Jonathan Brown.
well done, Jonathan.
Can you try and show it to the camera?
Jonathan Brown.
The last one was a waste of time.
Right, Andrew, your turn.
Oh, was it my turn? And the final one is Rachel Black. No. Catherine Smith. So, well done, Catherine. I met you the other day, and I think that's going to go on a vegetarian feast. Or perhaps alcohol. Catherine. So well done.
Congratulations, everybody.
Yeah, and we really do appreciate that, and thank you very much for all your help and assistance. It does mean a lot to us. So
We'll be in touch with everybody the
We will.
next day or so and get that sorted and get it out to you. That is all from us for the last webinar of this year. So we'd just like to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We'll be back next year.
indeed we will. So have a lovely festive period. Enjoy yourselves, and we'll look forward to seeing you probably in February with the next webinar. Any ideas for suggestions, just let us know.